Welcome to Hamia. Do you have a decent life but still feel empty, flat or quietly miserable? Like something is missing even though everything looks fine? In this video I'm going to show you exactly what's missing and how to start fixing it. So if you feel sad, bored, disconnected or like you're just going through the motions, this is not a personal failure. It's a predictable result of how modern life is built. And once you understand the real cause, it becomes much easier to fix it. What's really happening is that modern life strips away the very things humans evolved to need. A sense of purpose, clear structure, connections to others, and a way for your body and mind to matter in the world. Most of us spend our days on screens, tasks and distractions, but we rarely do anything that feels meaningful on a deep human level. And that's why life can feel empty, even when it looks good, when it looks full. Us humans aren't meant to live like this. We are wired to find purpose through real action, rhythm and connection, not endless screens and tasks. In the past, people felt fulfilled because their bodies, communities and daily work all mattered, and life had natural structure and meaning. Today, those anchors are mostly gone, but the good news is you can start restoring them, and even small practices can create a deep sense of purpose, presence and belonging. For a lot of people, life looks fine on paper. You have a job, maybe a partner, a place to live, food in the fridge, a bit of money, maybe even some hobbies or travel. From the outside, it looks like you should be okay. But inside, something feels flat, hollow, almost numb. You wake up, do what you're supposed to do, get through the day and go to sleep. And then you do it all again. You're not exactly in pain, but you're not really alive either. It feels like you're going through the motions of a life instead of actually living one. Like your days pass, but you aren't really in them. And that's the strange part. Nothing is obviously wrong. You're not starving, you're not in danger, you're not being chased by anything, but still something deep inside you is quietly asking, is this all there is? And if you've ever felt that dull sense of emptiness behind a perfectly decent life, you're not alone and you're not imagining it. And here's something really important you need to hear. This feeling is not a personal failure. You're not weak, you're not ungrateful or broken. What you're experiencing is a very human reaction to an unnatural way of living. Modern life gives us more comfort, more safety and more entertainment and impressions than any generation before us. But it quietly took away something far more important. It took away the things that actually make life feel worth living. Humans don't just need food and shelter. We don't just need to survive. We don't just need money, comfort and distractions. We need to feel that our lives mean something, that we fit into a story, that what we do matters beyond just getting through the day. We need rituals that mark time and give shape to our lives. We need moments that feel sacred, not just productive. And we need a sense of identity, a feeling that we know who we are and why we are here. When this vacuum isn't filled, it often turns into depression, anxiety, addiction, or a constant search for distraction. And that's why nowadays it's so common to escape into video games or other virtual worlds. There's actually a reason our minds are drawn there. These worlds give us things modern life often doesn't nowadays. They offer clear goals, instant feedback, visible progress, identity, and sometimes even community and shared purpose. In short, games give our brains the same sense of meaning, structure, and accomplishment that real-life effort used to provide, but virtually. That's why people keep returning to them. The problem isn't the game itself. The problem is that our everyday lives rarely provide the same sense of contribution, growth, or belonging, leaving the soul quietly hungry. In the modern world, most of that has been stripped away without being replaced. We are connected to everything but rooted in nothing. We're busy all the time but rarely fulfilled. We're constantly entertained but quietly starving for something real. People who feel their lives are meaningful are more resilient, healthier, and more emotionally stable. But modern life rarely asks us what we're living for. It asks what we're producing, buying, achieving, or displaying, not what gives our lives coherence and direction. Almost everything that used to give the human soul structure has disappeared. So, why is it so much harder today to find a sense of true purpose? Why aren't we feeling good even though life is quite good? What's missing? Well, first of all, modern culture pushes superficial markers. It teaches us to chase things that look like purpose from the outside. The right job title, the right income, the right image, the right lifestyle, the right amount of followers, etc. We are told that if we just achieve enough, produce enough, or present ourselves well enough, we'll finally feel fulfilled. But those are external scorecards, not inner anchors. So people reach milestones, get promotions, buy more things, build an online identity, and still feel strangely empty. Simply because these are external metrics that might look like purpose, but they aren't necessarily connected to deep, enduring meaning. And this mismatch causes many people to feel hollow even when they achieve success. Another factor is the so-called paradox of choice. There's a well-studied pattern showing that when humans are given too many options, we don't become freer. We become more anxious, more confused, and less satisfied with our lives. We aren't forced into narrow life paths anymore, but choice overload can create paralysis. Too many choices dilute focus, and with hundreds and thousands of viable life directions like careers, lifestyles, identities, relationships, it becomes unclear which choice is true. Some choice is good, too much choice overwhelms the human mind. It looks like freedom, but beyond a certain point, it turns into pressure, leaving you with less clarity for the big questions about who you are and what you want. Meaning doesn't come from endless searching. It comes from choosing, committing, and building a life inside a story. Which leads us to that meaning must be created, not found. Our views often presume life meaning is a fixed treasure to uncover, but purpose isn't discovered pre-packaged. One must actively construct it through choices, suffering, contribution, and involvement with others. Life purpose arises through engagement, not passive searching. It is about building and commitment, and that's something we don't really dare doing these days, since the grass always seems to be greener on the other side. Or because the building process is actually uncomfortable and uncertain, and then it's easier to do something completely else. Also, self-knowledge has been deprioritized. Society doesn't emphasize self-reflection, introspection, or deep self-understanding, which are of course key to identifying what truly matters to someone. Instead, most people spend energy on surface goals or reactivity to stimuli, with little structured time for inner reflection and activity central to discovering purpose. Traditional cultures often provided clear social roles. For example, farmer, craftsperson, warrior, healer, ritual specialist, etc. You didn't have to invent yourself from nothing. Today, we live in a world where identity is fluid, fragmented, and endlessly negotiable. We're told we can be anything, but we are giving no deep structure to become anything. So people drift between roles and jobs and self-images, constantly questioning whether they chose the right path or not, whether they're behind or whether they're wasting their lives. We're endlessly performing versions of ourselves rather than being someone real and excelling in that. We used to belong to something, a people, a place, a lineage, a shared story. We knew where we came from and what we stood for. We also had a sense that our lives fit into something greater than ourselves, a story that gave meaning to our struggles, our work, and even our death. We are wired to need deep connection, not just contacts or followers, but people who truly know us and who share a world with us. And when you remove all that, what's left is what we see today: endless work, endless scrolling, endless consuming. We live among millions, but yet we feel deeply alone because nothing truly binds us together. And this is existential isolation, the feeling that no one really understands your inner world, no one is part of the same story. Purpose is tied to connection with others and community outcomes, not just inner hobbies or personal fulfillment. When we define purpose solely as self-expression, we often hit a dead end. Purpose that integrates personal passion plus impact on others tends to be more lasting and psychologically satisfying. We've also been cut off from the natural world and lifestyle that shaped us. We now have a sedentary lifestyle. We're indoors all the time, and we're living in environments we weren't meant to live in. For almost all of human history, life was lived in rhythm with the sun, the seasons, the weather, the land, and the living world around us in general. And those rhythms quietly gave structure, meaning, and emotional stability to our lives. Modern life replaced those living cycles with clocks, screens, and artificial schedules, leaving our nervous systems and our souls disoriented, untethered, and quietly starving for something real to belong to. Also, the human body itself is one of our deepest sources of meaning. Our bodies aren't just something to carry around. Daily life used to mean building, carrying, walking, harvesting, crafting, protecting, cooking, caring, maintaining, you name it. You worked with your body and could see and feel that your effort made life possible. When you chopped wood, cooked food, built shelter, worked the land, or carried water. You created something real. You made a difference. Because of my body and effort, something good now exists that didn't before. Our nervous systems are literally designed for this. Modern life breaks this loop. You might work all day, but your body never gets the message that you did something real. You close a laptop instead of a gate. You send an email instead of carrying a load. You scroll instead of walk. So you feel tired, but not fulfilled. Modern work is abstract. It moves symbols, not stones. It produces invisible results instead of tangible change. So even when you work hard, your nervous system never experiences true completion, contribution, or success in the physical world. We also don't have any rites of passage anymore. No ritual, no natural structure, no anchor points. Nowadays, it might feel like we just drift from childhood into adulthood into old age. Time just passes without anything or anyone telling us that we've reached a certain level, that we've grown, that we've improved, things have actually happened. We just move from task to task, from screen to screen, week to week, with very little that tells our nervous systems that this moment actually matters, this stage of life matters. You've achieved something, you've finished something. And this unacknowledged life without clear markers is both confusing and unhealthy. So what do? Well, we definitely won't change society and modernity overnight. And we don't need to. But there are many things you can do. And it starts with changing how your days feel. So here are some powerful things you can do to begin restoring meaning, restoring rhythm and a sense of being alive. One of the best things you can do for yourself is to dare to seek your true calling, no matter what it is. Dare to ask yourself questions. Too many people avoid this because it's uncomfortable to trade comfort for meaning. And there might be a lot of expectations, social norms, fear of judgment, or worry about whether you can provide for themselves or for yourself if you change. This isn't easy. And I'm not saying that everyone can just resign from their job or drop all responsibilities just to become an author in Paris or something. But start asking yourself questions and start exploring interests and passions in small, practical ways. A project, a hobby, a skill, a habit, anything that moves you closer to what actually makes you feel alive and fulfilled, big or small. Next, create one daily sacred marker. Your mind and nervous system is starving for borders between states. Modern life looks like work, phone, scrolling, sleep, repeat. There's no real beginning, no real ending. And without those, nothing feels meaningful. So create one small daily ritual that marks time. And this can be watching the sunset with a cup of tea, lighting a candle at dusk, read every day after work, stepping outside barefoot in the morning, or standing quietly at dawn, whatever you want. That alone starts to heal the feeling of emptiness. And here I also recommend our video about the ancient Nordic mindfulness technique called kurashymning. Reconnect with nature's rhythm. Start paying attention to the real world again. Actively notice the sunrise, sunset, the moon, the weather, the seasons, etc. And gently align your life with them. Calm at dusk, activity in daylight, rest at night, celebration when seasons change, etc. This makes your nervous system feel that I belong here and I am part of this world. Put your body back into life. Every day, do one physical thing that creates something real. That can be walking in nature, lifting weights, cooking from raw ingredients, cleaning, crafting, gardening, etc. Anything. And be mindful when you do this. And here I also want to recommend our videos on forest bathing. Next, reduce choice on a daily basis. Dare to choose and to deselect. Stop trying to optimize your life all the time. Pick a few simple practices and commit to them. Meaning comes from commitment, not endless searching. Choosing something and sticking with it gives your life shape. A great and simple framework that you can start using immediately is that every day must include a certain amount of things. So every day needs to include 1 moment of stillness, 1 moment of physical effort, 1 moment of connection, and 1 moment of meaning, no matter how big or small. And remember that you definitely don't have to escape modern life. We're not supposed to constantly look back. You just need to bring back some ancient things that we forgot. Rhythm, body, ritual, and belonging. That's how a life stops feeling empty and starts feeling alive again.